What song are we talking about?
From our intro.
Oh my god, everybody's here. It's already a lively chat.
We're gonna have to sing that song sometime.
It is really catchy. And you know what's funny is that even like them dancing in the video, they're like kind of going along with it too.
I
It
know.
works.
Nuke did it perfect. Nuke did it perfectly. Perfect edit.
Did you used to do AMVs, Nuke, like in an earlier part of your life?
No, I just it's meme culture.
I see.
I set up my Instagram reel. Hold on, sorry guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you might be on the wrong mic.
There.
So, meme culture. If you pay attention enough, you'll see kind of trends. And one of the trends is that song was very popular. And one of the reasons it was popular is because there was a video of these young black dudes dancing to it, and when you don't know the lyrics, but the song is catchy. That song is about female unaliving, like a woman that, right?
Oh.
And then, but it's so catchy and positive, right? And then you see someone did a flip of that meme where it's a bunch of like I guess Japanese people dancing, and it's like when you don't know the lyrics, but the song is catchy and it's pumped up kicks. The song,
Holy shit!
Which is about school shootings, but everyone's like, all the Asian people are dancing and they don't even know. And I'm just like, that's a beautiful thing about like not knowing the lyrics of songs. You don't know how terrible some songs are, but people just care that it's catchy. And I thought,
I remember when Lips of an Angel was huge, and I was dating this girl when I was in like middle school. And I remember I always think about you when I hear Lips of an Angel. And then she texted me back, she's like, that song's about cheating. I'm like, what?
Really? Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Lips of an Angel? I do know The Arms of an Angel, that sad song they always play with dog adoption, where it's like, in the arms of
speaking of that, my one friend in middle school, I remember him telling me, he's like, man, I'm like sitting here trying to jack off, and then they're playing this commercial with dogs. He's like, I can't fucking rub one out to this.
I remember Patrice O'Neill used to make a joke about that, about like, puppies in a cup, it's horrible. Hi, I'm White Lady.
Yeah, but I just thought it was an interesting I thought it was an interesting thing. And then obviously when the Tates were at their peak, everyone was making memes of them, and I kind of saved it and all that stuff. But you could put anything on over that song and make it catchy and fun, Mm-hmm. But you guys, Kyle, you will get a copyright notification, so prepare for that. You won't get a hit. You won't get a strike, but you will get like a hey, you can't.
It's like a soft strike.
Yeah, like hey, this is not. You're good, but you have to remove the song.
Yeah,
haven't had it at all.
God, when we win, there needs to be total restructuring of copyright law in the United States. It's clearly a meme. It's clearly an alteration of the original source. It's fucking gay.
Yeah, I got my
video on that though. Like he went through the process. Like it's because copyright law was designed for like big corporate types where your manager talks to your manager and your IP guy talks to that IP guy, and they kind of settle it between themselves. Mm-hmm. We don't have that anymore. It's usually it's just Jack and Nuke and some guy in Russia managing the IP. So it's really different now, but the law hasn't changed. So
yeah, I got Rolo did me a favor, and he played "Cry" at the end of one of his streams, which was my band's most recent single we put out in January, and I got him one of those soft strikes, and I felt kind of bad about it because I know that's part of his living. So like, and then I messaged the guy who's responsible for handling like all our music and stuff like that. I figured we weren't going to get knocked for it, but yeah, I mean, it was like immediately right as soon as he posted the video, he got knocked for it. And I messaged the guy who managed our record company, and I figured, okay, well, maybe he would be able to do this easily. Like, it should be as easy as like, hey, this person has permission to do this, but it's almost like putting a fucking man on the moon. Like, I've gotten strikes on my own channel for playing my own music. Yeah. But I mean, they probably just like don't know. And then on top of that, I would probably have to get permission to use my own music because
It's all done by bots anyway. It's not
exactly
like looking at it.
Right.
Same as Elon's suspension thing, where it's like he was bragging about his free speech platform again, where it's like you can say everything you want. It's like, hey, hello, care to unban me then, or unsuspend me, whatever it's called. But I've tried to appeal that so many times, and it's all automated now. It's like, nope.
Yeah, I know some people had said they continuously submitted an appeal, and eventually they got it, but I don't know, if that's changed recently or what.
Just think what would cause people to not want to use the app, and are you part of that problem? That's how you got to think about it, right? If you send someone a goatsy, and I'm like a new user to Twitter and I want to start using it, and I'm getting goatsied, like you're probably not gonna want to come back or something. You're gonna be like, this app is full of weirdos.
God bless.
Yeah, it's not like 4chan where like it's not like 4chan where you purposefully do that stuff so you can filter out like Zoomers and summer fags and all that stuff. Like you want Twitter is like the opposite. They want to welcome everyone and then be like, hey, it's free speech, but don't mess with my money.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you got to see it. I got a copyright strike from playing my covers of piano songs. Not a strike, but like this is a, and I was flattered because I think it was Titanic. I was playing Titanic.
Wow. On back, huh?
Yeah, and
Nice.
it wasn't even like a good cover because I've never played it by ear, I've never played the music. I only played it by ear. And then when I finally started, when I uploaded it, I got a notification like, hey, I was like, that's unfair, but I had to, and I appealed it, and it actually went through. You have to say, hey, this is a cover of a song. I am not playing the song. That I am actually this talented, and they're like, okay, and they let it go.
Can't you put it in as like for educational purposes, and they'll take away the strike, or does that not work?
I think if it's you're breaking down the song, for example, there are people like there's a channel I used to follow. I can't find them anymore, but there's a channel I used to follow that it was like a composer listening to Final Fantasy music for the first time, and then and that's educational because you're breaking down a song on an educational level. Like if you're teaching someone how to play a song, But other than that, I don't think it's really strict. Like just assume that And I would say on the internet, especially on YouTube, there are. If you look up like your favorite artist, like for example, I like glitchcore music, so I like look up Deco or Blady type beat or Blady type music, and it'll put people that have taken all of Blady's kind of like music and sound, like all the sound drops and everything, and made it into their own, and it's free. And they say free to use, and I'm just like, that's what I do. And I wish I could use songs like the one we use in our intro, like Yasobi, Running Into the Night. Like that's a beautiful song, and it's fun. And it's hilarious that the Tates are dancing to it. But it's just like the haters will hate, man. The big corporation is going to hate. They hate on true art.
So far, I haven't got a strike on that song yet. I did have one strike on my channel for years and years and years ago. People wanted me to do like a red pill breakdown of American Beauty. And I played the scenes a bit too long, and then I got a strike. But these days, when you then do some training, you answer some questions, then they remove the warning. And I just did that today, so apparently the strike will be removed. But I'm not really sure. But like for the Japanese song, so far I've never had a strike.
Yeah, so
I did get a strike for that Mulan cover though. That was like a one-time thing where it's like, nope.
That was good. We should that was one of like the better intros we made for this. We should have kept that. Fucking annoying.
I did a podcast with my buddies Eric and Reed, and we talked about Jeffrey Epstein and kind of dived in on that, and that got me a strike. And then I had that, I think the strike went away, but I had the warning on my channel for the longest time. And then I didn't know you could do that whole questionnaire thing, and I did the questionnaire thing, and then it went away. I'm like, oh, like that's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't even, they got me for. What was it? Cyberbullying and harassment. I'm like, how can you harass a dead person? Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Well, I mean, the Clintons have a hard time, They get accused for that all the time, and it's not very nice of us to say those things, and it brings up all these unresolved emotions. We need to take that into consideration.
Leave those billionaires alone.
I know.
How dare you? So the one thing I wanted to talk about today, when we were kind of shooting the shit about ideas, the word should. This was something that Jack had actually busted my balls about when I think I had him on my channel for the first time. And I think I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I saw the change in his face as soon as I said it. And he was like, there's that word. I'm like, did I like call you a faggot or something? Like what I do?
I would have preferred that, in all honesty.
But yeah, he was like, I'm like, whoa, what do I do here? So he kind of elaborated on it. And then ever since, I have been watching myself say this word. And then every single time I replaced should with could. And I think I heard you elaborate on Rule 0. And it does give you a completely different perspective on things. Mm-hmm. And I do find myself kind of stopping a lot and kind of switching that up. So maybe we kind of go around, start with Jack and then onwards and kind of maybe explain why that word could be problematic.
Okay. So how I got the idea is from comparing TRP to TradCons. I see Ryan and Nuke and all the guys not necessarily arguing, but like go against TradCon points. And the biggest difference I noticed was that TradCons always come from the point of should. You should do X, you should do Y, and you should do Z. Whereas in TRP, as in the red pill space, it's you could do it. Like it is optional. You don't have to do it. It comes back to that phrasing of we don't tell you what to think. We tell you how to think. And what you do with it is up to you. A guy in the chat yesterday, he's like, yeah, my wife doesn't sleep with me anymore, but I work out and she doesn't respect my boundaries. Well, you could do whatever you want. I mean, she has first crack at your libido, not sole custody. It's like, oh, should I cheat? You should do nothing. You could. Mm-hmm. I mean, she withholds sex from you because of power of law and whatever church you may worship in. What gives her the right to do that? You're a man. You have your desires. Why not go after them? Rule 0, male sexual power. It's like, and from that came a whole different perspective of arguing with trads as well, where it's like, no, I could worship the church. I could hold my marriage in higher regard, things like that. But then you also ask yourself, wait a minute, there is another option then. With could, there's always another option. Because if you could do A, you could do B. Mm-hmm. When there should, there's all the other options are closed. There's an appeal to emotion, there's an appeal to documentation, there's an appeal to theology there, which completely closes off any other option. Could opens it all up. It is an option, not the option.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the other thing that a lot of people miss out on when it comes to should is that I think a lot of people kind of apply their own ideology when they say should. You should do this. So like, Jack, you and I were kind of going back and forth about nutrition stuff on my last stream. And for me, it's like, okay, well, if someone says you should eat a lot of protein, okay, well, then that assumes that once again, maybe you have the appetite for that. It assumes a lot. And it also assumes that, okay, well, maybe your highest priority is building muscle. But when you say you could eat more protein, then, okay, well, then what are your options? You could have whey or protein powder. You could have a steak. You could have whatever. Just depends on what you're looking for. Because then, like you said, when you say could, you leave the options open. When you say should, no options.
And you and I both know that with the protein shakes. Which supplement should I take? It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know your blood work, whatever. What's your diet? You could add an additional protein shake. However, that completely depends on your protein intake or on the protein intake you get from your normal whole foods, which people already don't know. They don't even check that. It's like, oh, protein shake, done. It's like, no, that's not really how that works.
Right. And I mean, if you're already getting a ton of protein, which, generally people who are trying to build muscle generally are, then, okay, well, are you just kind of, doing the whole thing, you're in a swimming pool, dumping a water bottle on your head. I mean, then, okay, you don't need that. And you could focus those calories somewhere else. Nuke, what about you?
I think could and should, right? So I'll put it in the case of like an example that I kind of try to frame it into, like, for example, I'm starting a nuclear reactor. So many things could go wrong. If I hold a shim switch and raise the hafnium rods, reactor power should go up, right? Mm-hmm. And that's like where because something could happen, you have to have contingencies for what could happen, right? And that's why, like, if you're gonna date, if you're gonna get married, if you're gonna do that stuff, your wife could leave you tomorrow. So what's the contingency for knowing that a human being can leave your life? She's not yours; it's just your turn, right? And also, there's legal, like you do your legal kind of footwork. You go contract a divorce lawyer, or you get informed, right? And those are your contingencies, and that's the best way for me. I have a very engineering type mindset where I see a procedure or a process, right? And I look at the procedure in a linear, like on a line, and say, what are things that can go wrong in each part of this procedure? What could go wrong? So I'm like, okay, if I have unprotected sex with a young, fertile Mexican chick, I could get her pregnant. So let's use protection. But I'm going to ask for protection, and she's going to be like, no, take that off. Stop being a pussy. Therefore, I have my answer and be like, no, I'm not, like, I'm sorry. Or, are you on birth control or whatever, right? And as a guy, once you start having this foresight to kind of like set up procedures and bulletproof systems in your life, you're going to realize that eroticism, anxiety goes away. And that's how they train us to operate nuclear reactors, right? I know that the reactor should do something when I press a button. I know that these pumps turn on. I know that the ship should go a certain speed, and I know what should happen. But if it doesn't happen, then I'm like, okay, I know what to do, right? I'm not hoping that the things that aren't supposed to happen, but in case they do, I have the contingencies. And that's a very masculine thing, right? Women are kind of like, help me. Whereas men are like, all right, this is happening. Sound code red. This is what I'm doing. Lock down everything. This is and that's how I see it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I deal with my service advisors in a very similar way, where it's like, okay, so if this person's having this issue, then we could tell this person that it's going to be this much, or we could just tell them this is going to be straightforward. And then the problem is when you tell them it's going to be straightforward, you're telling them, oh, it should be done this day. You're giving them the expectation. And generally what we try to do and what I try to set customers up for is like, okay, we're going to, under promise and over deliver rather than over promise and under deliver. And this is something that service advisors can never seem to like piece together. So basically like, okay, so if this repair is supposed to cost $1,500, but we get them out of here for $1,000, we look like superheroes. But if we tell them it's going to be $1,500 and then it's $2,000, we look like assholes now. All right. So leaving that room really gives you a lot to work with.
I think as a person, you the word you should go by what should happen, right? But at the same time, you should be ready for what could happen, right? And that's just that kind of line you have to ride. Like, I want my car to turn on in the morning. It should turn on. I'm going to plan my day as if my car will turn on. But if it doesn't, I can call AAA. I know a little bit of car maintenance, so I can figure out why it isn't. I have to call work. Like, I already have what's going to happen in my mind. And sometimes, guys, we kind of dream about really bad situations. Like, what if I get attacked by a bear? What should I do? And then we go on YouTube and we look at a video like how to survive a bear. And that's how guys are, because we're always wondering what could happen. Like if like we like survival manuals. Like, I'm sure Red Hawk, you probably read survival manuals and understand what to do when you're in the wilderness, right?
Fact.
Especially if you don't have guns. Like, maybe your gun goes to shit, or you lose, or something happens, you ran out of ammo, whatever. You have plans and contingencies for that happen. I think every man should look at life like that, especially when he's dating women. And that's where the abundance mentality comes in. Like, hey, I met the girl of my dreams. Most likely she will not want to be with me because, that's just, girls are designed to reject men, right? So I'll meet two girls that I like and then go from there. And then I've always have somebody to have intimacy with or something. So, yeah.
But you bring up a good point where with could, you're just prepared. Like, the car should work because I changed the oil, I put gas in it, everything's in order, but it could break down. So in that instance, what do I need to do? I need to have AAA's number, need to be insured, etc. It gives you that preparation just in case.
Yeah, only women can rely on should all the time.
Yeah.
I rely on
should.
Man. I rely on should because the world has to rely on should. We can't just be like, okay, everything's gonna go wrong today, so but when it does go wrong, have the manual or the thought process or the YouTube video or the money or whatever you need, because it's so shitty when men aren't prepared for the coulds. And obviously, there's some things that you just never see coming, right?
Yeah.
But I think for everything, not only women and dating, like everything, if you're gonna go hiking out in the woods, if you're gonna go, anything, like if you're lifting weights, like anything, what could happen? What is the worst? And have an escape plan. Like when I'm benching, back when I started benching, I was scared. I was like, what if this falls on me? And then my friend taught me, like, hey, if it falls on you, just, like, don't let it go. Just let it kind of hit your chest a little bit. You won't die, and just kind of like shimmy it off you and let it slide off. You're going to be okay. And I was like, okay. So I lost my fear because I know if my arm buckled or my joints buckled or something, I knew it was going to happen, right? I wasn't going to die. I just, I had a procedure to get out of that situation.
Safety bars, always. But even Cappy, an experienced hiker, out of nowhere, ran into a goddamn bobcat. I don't know if you guys know that story.
That was a mountain lion.
A mountain lion. I thought it was a bobcat. Yeah,
no, bobcats are smaller. Like bobcats they're vicious, but not as vicious as a mountain lion.
Yeah, okay. No, then it was a mountain lion. But I remember that podcast so well. He's like, Cappy ain't got no gun. Cappy ain't got no face, no mountain lion. Holy shit. Like out of nowhere. But luckily the thing ran away. But experienced hiker, been there before, never ran into one. Boom. You stare into the face of death. What do? Hawk's always packing, right? Gov as well. Whoa.
Holy shit.
There we go.
And there goes the monetization.
Yeah.
That was just a sound drop, guys. It's just a sound drop.
Yes.
Come to Texas, you get one for free. They give it to you when you cross the border.
Facts.
So with your free whiskey, with a whiskey every time you buy whiskey.
Dude,
free
Texas is so normalized to carry that I was walking with Gov, and it wasn't until like the end of after we walked back to my car, I saw his holster, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it was Fort Worth. Like Fort Worth is like cowboy capital of the world. So
I'll never forget when I got picked up at the airport in Texas like 15 years ago to go on a hunt, and one of the outfitters from the hunt just pulls out like a bolt action rifle from his front seat, literally at the airport, no case, no nothing, just puts it into the trunk of the car. I'm like, oh, I like it here.
Yeah, Texas is it's a magical place. The hiking isn't so great here, but it's a magical place.
As you say, I don't think there are many hills down in Texas. To go back to the could and should, I was thinking about this a little bit Friday night. No, I'm sorry, Thursday night. For work, we went up to New York for a whole GM sales training thing, which is actually pretty neat. And it was funny. I was thinking like, okay, I could go to bed and then I'll be well rested for the next day. But, I kind of want to have fun because we're, going to be kind of just relaxing and going to different classes, driving all the new GM vehicles and seeing all the new GM vehicles Friday. So why don't we go down and, just have some fun, go drink and stuff like that. So this one girl had came through where we go into like where the casino was, and there was a bar on the other side, and she started talking to me and the guy I was with at first. I'm like, okay, I could just kind of like play it off, ignore it and whatever, and then do what the trad cons would like you to do and be the dutiful husband. But I'm like, I could get a free drink out of this. So I'm going to lean into it a little bit, and I'm going to, fuck around, not do anything that would be immoral by the bounds of my marriage and what I want. But, I'm going to fuck around, and then I'll see if I can get myself a free drink. And surely enough, she bought me a fucking $12 margarita before the end of the night. And I'm like, okay, well, there you go. Life is good. Red Hawk, what should we do about the word should?
Well, to bring it back to some more, I mean, we've been talking about kind of like the etymology of like the word should and things like this, but to bring it back to like actionable advice here on Post Zero, because that's what we should be doing on the show, right? Is giving people actionable advice. The problem with the word should is that it brings you into covert contracts. Okay. Well, if I go out with this Christian girl, she should be a virgin. She should wait for sex until we're married. She should listen to her man and things like this. And it just sets you up for failure because, as we all know in your relationships, you have to make things happen. Things just don't like fall out of the sky for you. So that is what I think is the most dangerous thing about should when it comes to the things that we're talking about in this space.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, especially going into covert contracts because, Ryan always says it, but it's absolutely true that I think a lot of guys have that initially. And I think it's something that we learn very, very young, and it is really hard to get out of your brain. And there are a lot of stuff that we probably still don't even realize that are covert contracts that guys do. And like I kind of noticed this with my coworkers, and it's kind of weird, but like as soon as they get girlfriends, they become total cunts about everything. And all they want to do is just, basically get out and spend time with their girlfriend. And really, what they never realize is that, hey, those behaviors of you being a cunt and wanting to do everything you can to spend time with your woman, that's cool at first, but then eventually she's going to come to resent you for those behaviors. But what you could do is try to create a little bit of space there, and then maybe that, that genuine desire will continue on in perpetuity. But if you just throw your cards on the table right from the beginning, shit's probably going to dry up.
But I was told to chase excellence, not women, and the poon would drop. Why not work?
Dante, if you got any thoughts, go ahead.
Well, the main reason it's not a good idea to look for shoulds in your life is you kind of put the authority of how you run your life on somebody else, right? And obviously that causes a lot of covert contracts, like Red Hawk mentioned. But at the same time, at least for me, what I've experienced is that everybody from your country to your family to your church to your friends, they want to take advantage of you, and not because they're bad people, but because they need to get shit done, and the only way to do that is to persuade people to do it their way. Now, that's well and good if it works out for you, or if it's within your own, best interest. But what happens when it's not? Like every time on Twitter, you see somebody tells you should, marry your high school sweetheart, or you should marry that prostitute. But like ultimately, you have to know what's best for you, right? As Rob likes to say, what do you want? That's kind of the main thing is when a guy is looking for shoulds or anything similar to that, we could go into what's similar to should. But if a guy's looking for shoulds in order to orient his life, he's just not going to make it, because every time he takes somebody else's word of how he should run his life, the chances that the life he wants will work out for him are not gonna. It's very low. It's very low. So I always, whenever I see the word should or anything like that, I always, I have a little bit of an allergy to it now, because I understand that, first of all, what could work for that person wouldn't always work for me. Like the moment I had a massive increase of respect for Kyle was when we were on that Father's Day podcast, and his dad told him not to get married. And what was the other thing, Kyle? The two things, right? Don't get married.
Don't get married, and what the hell was it?
Okay, but basically, don't get married. And he got married, and we were like, we had a moment where we're like, "Fuck you, Dad." That's
Yeah.
like, this is what I'm saying. His dad told him, "Hey, you shouldn't get married," and he was like, "I just found a girl that I really like, and she's good to me." So fuck you, Dad. Same thing. Like if your church tells you to be like, you should get married before you're get married very early in your early 20s, and you're like, but wait a minute, it takes a lot of money to have like a nice house so you can pay for your wife's shit and pay for your shit and pay for your kids' shit. God, schooling's expensive. It takes me longer than my early 20s to make that happen. But no, you should marry in your early 20s, and that wouldn't work for everybody. Or if your family says, that girlfriend you've been having for 4 years, you should marry her. And then what if you realize later on that this girl's turning out to be a cunt? You can't stand her. She doesn't even want kids. What are you going to do? Like, people don't know and can't say what the right thing to do for you is for you. And so you have to make that call. And that's why people hate the word should. So
Right, and it's completely reasonable to do so, and it's kind of funny that you mentioned my dad and tell me not to get married, and I don't think that he's still approving necessarily of that decision, which once again it's not his decision at the end of the day. As much as I love my dad, but I know he really likes my wife, and she generally is a pretty pleasant person. But at the same time, once again, that was just a lifestyle decision for me, and that wasn't his choice at the end of the day. I
yeah,
was when I was walking around with my one buddy that I was there with at the GM training on Thursday night. He's telling me all about his girlfriend now, and they've been dating for like a month or two. And I'm sure every single person on this panel knows this kid's 21, freshly 21, and he showed me a picture of her and everything. She's beautiful, and she's just an anxious fucking mess. And he was telling me, oh yeah, she always says, oh, you hate me, and I didn't call her at the end of the night, and she was wondering why I didn't call her. And I'm like, look, dude, this is going to be completely up to you, but you need to assess if you can tolerate that. If you can, more power to you. But in that situation, I would never tell you you should tolerate that, because once again, I don't know, what's your tolerance. Can you tolerate a fucking anxious mess? And is that going to dissipate? Is that going to go away? That's going to be completely up to you and what you're willing to put up with. Me personally, if my wife was being that way to me, you're gone. I can't tolerate somebody that I have to give 100% of my attention, time, and everything to, because I have so much other stuff going on that I want to do that isn't dependent upon my wife or another person, right? I enjoy playing in a band. I enjoy doing stuff like this. No, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy spending time with my wife, but that's not the only thing that I have going for me in my life. And if I had somebody like that who is constantly in need of reassurance and just needed me to, tell them how great they were every single second of the day and respond to their every need, I'd go fucking nuts. But maybe somebody else could tolerate that. I'm not that person. Are you that person? That's for you to decide, and you only. So
right.
in a situation like that, I'm not going to tell you should. You could, but that's up to you.
You just gotta present the outcomes, the possible outcomes that they can get. Like, yeah, you do this, bro. This is what could happen.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all you can do. That's the best you got.
Mhm.
I like to use logos. Like, everyone likes to use stats and morality. The two worst things to use for an argument. Just use like rationality. Like in that case, I would be like, so you are 21, right? Are you busy yet in life? Well, sort of. You don't know what busy is yet, right? We're gonna get 28. You're gonna be busy. You're gonna be like maybe a middle manager and all that stuff. Here's a scenario for you. You just got out of a heated meeting or heated argument with your clients or with coworkers or whatever that stuff, right? And you finally seal the deal. Or you did something, and you're tired. You go home, and your girlfriend says, "Would you like me if I was a worm?" And then starts crying because you don't spend enough time with her. That's the future you want, or do you want a girl that kind of understands, like, hey, I have problems, but he does too.
Mhm.
Like that's why I like Patrice O'Neal so much, right? Because he kind of knocks the whole future wife goggles out of guy's head. Like, you guys remember his best joke, his greatest joke ever is "Ain't That Better?" Where he's sitting down enjoying a baseball game, and his girl comes and sits down next to him and like changes his burger out for a salad and wraps her leg and changes the temperature of the room and lowers the volume of the TV and opens the blinds and ask her ask him what he's watching, all that stuff. And a lot of guys, like, we kind of forget the day-to-day what it involves being with the women, right? And the number one thing guys should realize is that, yes, vetting, body count, whatever guys are so focused on, but like, dude, it's the day-to-day that will grind you down as a man. It's not a woman that has to be around you 24/7, right? And then he says, like, yeah, we want women, we want to be alone. We don't want to be by ourselves, but we want to be alone. Like, you could be in the house with me, like you can be in the vents or something, we don't care. But just leave us alone. We want you around. And women that don't understand that, literally, that's why there's some women that are tattooed and are happy in a marriage, and there's women that are super conservative and are miserable and make the men miserable. It's because it's about being likable, right? That's all it comes down to. Is your woman likable? Forget about religion, forget about ideology, forget about her past. Hell, even if she didn't have a dad, I don't care. Are you a likable person? If you're a likable person, that's all I care about.
You're gonna love my new.
Can I stand you when my
and big
when the balls are drained?
And big tits. That's also
Yes.
pretty.
Fact.
Yes.
Can I stand you when my
We
balls
here
are
at
drained?
Post
That's the
Zero.
criteria.
I'm a C
That's the
cup guy.
criteria.
I like
I'm
C
sorry,
cups.
go ahead,
but
Dante.
D cups are good too.
Yeah. like, can I stand you when my balls are drained? That's all I. That's a very, very high criteria. No, for real.
No,
Like, if
you're
I
right.
can't,
You are.
if I want you out of the room
Mhm.
after we have sex, we are not. I'm not seeing you again. I am not seeing you again. Straight facts. Um, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it, but
You guys are gonna love my new Substack tomorrow.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
gonna
Oh,
be
boy.
about vetting and why
I
it
thought it was
can
going to be
work.
about post-nut clarity, but okay.
That could be a thing. Now that you guys are mentioning this, I'm kind of bummed out. I already finished it, but oh well, maybe for next time. The book version will have it.
One book on 300 pages in post-nut clarity. I like that.
And I think-
and I'll ask Ryan for a foreword where it's like, women experience post-nut clarity when they have a baby.
Well, I think we talked about this the first time I was on Post Zero, but like my wife will tell me stories about like some of her coworkers and like how disastrous their relationships are. And I'm like, if you did that in this house, you would be fucking gone. Like, it just amazes me how some guys will sleepwalk into like families and marriages and stuff like that. I'm like, how the fuck did you just let it go that far? Like, yeah, she like freaked out one day in front of my family and screamed at me, or we were at her house and she like threw the dog or something like that, or
Fuck.
yeah, like not I'm being a little bit facetious, but like I'll hear
Okay.
some fucking insane fucking stories from people. I'm like, I can't believe you just like walked into that. Like,
How hot were these women?
some of them
Asking
not that
for
hot.
a
Yeah,
friend.
some not very, I'm sure.
So, some of these were not that hot. I mean, Red Hawk was over my direction. Yeah, he's seen a few, and like some of them are all right, some of them are like less than all right, and people just fucking sleepwalk through their entire lives. I'm like, how do you not just like take the wheel at a certain point and say like, yeah, I'm not fucking doing
It's the
this?
tits,
Like-
man. It's the tits.
No,
Most men are like zombies. We're like, the Plants vs. Zombies were like brains. Except for us, it's like pussy.
Yeah.
Pussy.
well, it's just like most people in general, men or women, just walk their way through lives like complete zombies, and people just find themselves in a situation. Oh, well, I guess I'll get married because that's the thing I should do, right? And this is where I'm supposed to be when I reach 35. It's like ABCs of life,
Yeah,
well,
it's that time, It's we've been dating 4 years. It's about time that we get to the next level and shit like
My
that.
biological clock has a
It's like Cappy's numbers in the book of numbers that he was mentioning yesterday on Rule Zero. It's like 14% of marriages are like actually happy.
Yeah, and that's like how many are gonna stay happy? Like over time, it could change. And all
Right.
that.
Yeah, I remember when I proposed to my wife, we were talking. I think we went to go grab a bite to eat afterwards, and she's like, "Oh, I was wondering when you were going to do it." I'm like, "Well, that's not my timeline. Like that's not your decision. I decided if I thought you were worthy of that, and I mean, clearly I
And
did."
man, do they hate that? Do women hate that we have that leverage? They'll fight it. They'll fight it all day, and they'll make up lies. I'm just like, I'm sorry, like you don't get to decide. You only men that don't have any options have to have no leverage. But a guy with options is gonna, what are my options here?
I love that as one of my first like red pill things where it's like, just let the girl worry about the relationship. And ever since then, most of my relationship have been so great where it's like, oh, just let her bring it up. And yep, every time after like 9 weeks, 2 to 3 months, where's this going? It's like, okay. Okay.
Well, the thing is, like, guys are so neurotic these days because they're afraid of the outcomes and all that. So, what if I get divorced? What if this? What if that? What if, like, dude, just worry about being attractive and be awesome, and then I don't get it. Like, you can't control the universe, right? Like, you can't.
Yeah.
You do not have the gauntlet. You do not have it.
And a lot of them become despondent because then they make the money and all that stuff. And they're like, girls are still the girls aren't still. The girls are supposed to be the way I say they are because I have money now. I'm like, dude, even worse now because now you have more. Now the girls that want to settle down are going after you too, right?
Yeah.
So now you have two things you have to watch out for. The thing is, like, guys, just let it go. Like women, you can't control it, and there's nothing really you can't change women's mind once their mind is made up. So
I like how I like how in this hypothetical scenario, a guy is going to Nuke and saying, "Hey, something happened with my girl. What do I do?" And Nuke's gonna reply like, "No, just be awesome, bro."
I mean,
He's
in a
not
way,
wrong,
at least he's
not
not saying
wrong.
just be yourself. He's saying, okay, be better though. Like, some guys will tell you like just be your like Mike Rashid or Justin Waller, just be yourself.
It's like
draw the fucking owl.
Well, it's like this. It's like this. There's this concept. I think therapists use it for better or for worse. That's called like a pie chart, and the pie chart changes, right? 2022, I left my girl set, right? 2 weeks later, I got a raise at work. And then 3 weeks later, I hit a PR. And then 2 months later, I met a finance girl. See, like now that portion of life satisfaction that my girl used to give me is going away because she's gone. And now the other things are growing in that same pie chart, meaning the pie chart's always complete, meaning I'm always complete as a man, right? But there are just certain things in my life that give me less or more satisfaction. And they're dynamic, right? Like I could get injured. Like I think my shoulder's fucked right now. So that means gym is not going to give me as much satisfaction because I can't lift as much. But, now, I'm going viral all the time on Twitter and I'm building my brand. So that's giving me a little bit more satisfaction. Or Tadashi's, fully potty trained now and he's his behavior is improving as a dog. So that's another thing, right? And then my mom called me and she said, hey, my mom's health is back to being good again. So it's like, and that's how you got to see life. Like unless you're awesome, that pie chart's going to it's going to be too, it's going to grow in size and collapse. Whereas if you're awesome and your girl left you, right? But you get a raise in 2 weeks, you're good. It's going to be harder to be sad. You're going to be like, well, I get more money. That's imagine you're not awesome and your girl leaves you now. And you're not doing well at work either. You're fat. You know what I'm saying? Like
I think awesome. Yeah, I think what you're saying is like with the be awesome part, and I get what Dante meant as well. It is kind of like draw the owl. But what Nuke is saying is even if you get dumped, even if you get divorced, you are still there.
The Go plan stay the same. The stay plan same as the Go plan.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you are still there.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
No.
I'm not saying it's wrong. But what I am saying though is that
it's incomplete.
Yeah, it's incomplete, and it doesn't solve the entire problem. So I'll give you a story because this is kind of where I was at and how I got into this space. So me and my girl split up a while back. This was years ago. I came. How it happened doesn't matter, but essentially, everything was going great for me. I got a pay raise. Family's doing great. Everybody's healthy. Like I was going places, new field work, possibly new job, getting better clothing, everything else was great. But I still felt like shit though, So it's all there's a lot of it that's in a guy's head, where if those mental models break because he gets zeroed out, it doesn't like an awesome life isn't enough to get him to that spot where the way Newt describes his life right now, which is great, which is, look, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to go in this direction and whatever opportunity comes will come. So where I'm going for is getting from a guy to where I was back then to where Nuke is right now is kind of the gap, right? And a lot of the time it doesn't have anything to do with circumstance. It doesn't have anything to do with money or like their work ethic or what they have to do or what they should do. Sometimes it's just a change of perspective and a lot of shedding of old ideas and a lot of practice and a lot of rethinking of who he is.
I think there's also
you can't give that right away. It happens. It takes time.
Well, part of being awesome is like when growing up, I got humiliated a lot, right? And part of being humiliated is that you think you're more important than you are, or you think you're, what we say, like, hey, you ain't shit and that's okay. A lot of guys say that all the time. You ain't shit and that's okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll tell you, you ain't shit and that's okay. Being absolutely told you're literally called the word useless when you're in the military. Like I got called a nub for 2 years, meaning non-useful body. That's a day-to-day humiliation. And when you have that kind of treatment, and then you finally qualify and you're actually Big Daddy on the ship, and you're pretty much very well respected. The thing, it goes to this. It goes to being awesome. It was never the money. It was never the girls and all that. Being awesome was just letting your testosterone block the emotionalism that comes with certain life situations. I used to think something was wrong with me when I turned 33, 34, where a beautiful girl or something bad happened in my life and I wouldn't be as affected as I used to. And the thing is, maybe I need to go to therapy, right? And that's what a lot of people say. But it was just really, I have fully internalized all of everything that I've been taught by my father, by the things I've read in red pill praxology. And then from there, I'm just like, okay, being awesome for me was never, because any goober can earn a lot of money. You just got to like say yes to your boss every day and show up on time. But for me, what made me able to like move on and be able to stop worrying about, heartbreak and all that stuff was this. No one cares that you suck, right, in life, no matter how much. And also, no one cares that you're sad. Life will go on, right? Life will go on no matter. And it was tough for me to understand that, because I was sad. I miss my girl, or I miss this, or I miss that. I had a big fight with the family or whatever. But no one cares, right? And the people in my life needed me to show up. Like anything as small as my dog, me getting up early to take my dog for a walk, to my brother needing help moving, to my mom needing emotional support because my grandmother, her mother is sick and all that stuff. Those people still need you and need you to like kind of like show up. So being awesome is basically how you carry yourself in life. And the coolest part also about getting older for me was that when I mourn these things, I'm able to mourn in private. And that's fucking awesome. Like there's people that post this shit online, tears, crying online. They write about it. They stream their, and I'm just like, I just, turn the lights down low, sit on the couch with my dog, play some sad music, look out the window, have a whiskey, and be like, yep, this is life. And just
the guts theme.
Yeah, the guts theme, something. And I used to think that's lame, but I'm like, no, this is the most masculine, manly thing you could do. Is like, Saving Private Ryan when he goes to cry by himself because that one of his people died. That's basically how I did it. I'm just like, if I'm going to mourn something, I'm going to do it privately. No one's going to know about it, and move on. And that's it. That's the best I got.
Wow. But there's also a part of regaining your independence almost as a man, where like you get the heartbreak, you get zeroed out at work, you name it, whatever. And then you go through that process. Like it's almost a hero's journey of like resurrection, where you discover that it had always been you, where it's like you can rely on you as long as you keep going and want to do those things. The promotion at work was you. The PRs in the gym was you. Getting the new girl was you. And getting all those successes. And Dante, please help me out on this one. I know you know this. From your work comes experience. From your experience comes...
I don't remember the line.
God damn it. Do I have it here? Come on.
It was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I love that quote. But it's like, from your work comes experience. From your experience comes self-worth. From your self-worth comes...
I think authority?
Authority. And from your authority comes expectations. I think I got it. And I'm going to grab the book in a moment because I want to be sure.
Because I wanted to tie the situation, the hypothetical scenario, to the idea of should again, which is the biggest should that a guy who first comes into this space has to shed is the shoulds of romantic love. You should be a devoted guy to, like, your girl, give her flowers, pay attention to her, make sure she's okay all the time, make sure she's well fed like a baby, make sure she's always emotionally okay, and make sure she never has a moment of sorrow. That doesn't always work out, you know. It's not your job to be responsible for somebody else's feelings just because you have this notion of romantic love that people impose on you. And that's why, despite having everything on lock, if your shoulds are there, they're gonna fucking kill you. They really will. Like some people think, oh, I should do this and all that, and it should. But the expectation that Red Hawk talked about was that the covert contract comes where if I should do this, then the world should be this way, right? And then you realize the world isn't that way, and then you drop your shoulds, and then you apply that everywhere else. Like, should I do overtime in my career? Should I, follow my family's advice on marriage like Kyle didn't? Should So that's kind of the first moment a guy has when he realizes that his shoulds are not helping him. And then eventually he applies that mindset to dropping those shoulds everywhere else. And that's how your life gets better, at least in my experience.
Yeah, I think the one should you kind of highlighted there was important, but the one I always kind of come back to is that guys I think oftentimes think if I'm nice to her, she should reciprocate with sleeping with me. If I take her out to dinner, she should do this, she should do that. Is that a lot of guys think that just if they act the way they think they should, then the woman will follow up with certain behaviors. And I mean, once again, that goes back to Red Hawk and covert contracts there.
Yeah.
But like a lot of guys always, I think, lean on the idea that if I just do this for a woman, then I'm going to live a problem-free life. But that's everybody here will attest that is not the situation.
If I open the door for her and give her flowers, she'll let me eat her box. Yeah, no, never,
her pea sleeve or what?
You'll give a girl 7 orgasms and she'll never see her again.
Yep.
That is the level of dating we are now. Like, that is how it happens. Like, a lot of like, I know, especially my mentor, Forward Playboy, like, he will say, if you got to fuck a girl like it's the last day, like the last day you'll be alive, right?
Heartiste, yeah. 16 Commandments of Poon. I gotcha.
But there are times, I would say 50-50, right? There are times, and please excuse me for the intimate details, guys. There are times where I've had sex with girls and it was just terrible. And the girl would call me or text me the next day and say, hey, when do I get to see you again? Yep. And then there are times where I'm just, we have good chemistry and it's fireworks, right? And then I'm like, and those times where you just pass out 30 seconds right after and you're just like, you're not waking up. Like, she's like, she nudges you, you're like, nope, I'm sorry.
Go away.
Yeah. And never saw her again. And
you know what the worst part is, Nuke? It's because you fell asleep. Oftentimes it's like he didn't give me after, or what's that called? God damn it. Aftercare, where it's like, I didn't get no aftercare. Like, yeah, I let him like bang me in every corner of the room, but he didn't hug me when he fell asleep.
One hallmark of a guy gets girls is that he understands that just because he's great in bed or he's a certain thing, like he's tall or he's handsome or whatever he is, that secures women, and that any woman that deals with him is going to be obsessed with him. That's how that's kind of like a guy that's bullshitting me, because I've seen. And in my own life, shorter men, uglier men, or whatever, kind of take girls from me and have hotter chicks, and and it happens all the time. And the thing is, like, I know this is the hardest thing for guys who want to get into dating have to accept, is that, listen, you'll do everything perfect, right? You'll do everything right, because there's a whole do everything right beta life where you get the 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house, the white picket fence, you get the job, all that, and then there's that. But there's also the guys that are just like, I'm going to be a high performer, 6 figures, learn game, blah, top to bottom. And they think that every girl they come across is going to start like worshiping them because they're so awesome. Right. But I tell you right now, with you, like, unless you have like Troy Francis level game, it's going to be really hard to get girls to understand how awesome you are within the first 30 seconds of meeting them. Right.
Well, okay.
So you have to go with charm and probability. And a lot of guys who have this their ego invested in themselves and how awesome they are, they don't understand the number one thing. It's all about probability, right? When you see an atom, people think that those little electrons floating around, that's exactly where they are. No, that's the probability. We show that a ball there because that's the highest probability of where there will be. And the same thing with dating. Logistics is going to be your number one factor in getting women. And guys don't understand, like a fat guy that lives in a nice area of town with hot women is going to get more hot women than an attractive guy that lives out in Wichita Falls, Oklahoma, or Texas, right? And that's just, and these are things that like are not a function of how awesome you are. They're just, scheming, art of war, right? And once you start maximizing these things that are outside of how awesome you are, and just decisions, like just a decision, I want to live here, that's just a decision, you'll realize that it wasn't so much how awesome or not awesome or how much game you had. It was about art of war, like tactics, just setting yourself up first, and then from there you start going to the bars and you become friends with the bar, with people there. You go to like punk rock nights like I used to do and become friends with the band and all that stuff. And then you pick the right people to go out with if you decide to use a wingman and all that stuff. There's no girls have been introduced yet to this equation. You're still setting yourself up for success. And that will increase the probability of should will increase. And that's all you got. There is no 100% outcome. But if you do your due diligence outside of women, you set yourself up, there's going to be days where you just show up somewhere, a punk rock night, a salsa night, and a girl will drag you home. And there's going to be times where you grind and you talk to 6 women and everyone's going to be like, oh, who is this guy approaching everyone, right? And that's that up and down. Dude. Yeah, and that's that up and down. Yeah, that's that up and down that guys that want to date don't want to deal with. I'm like, dude, you have to learn to love the peaks and the lows, because it's like being a hero. It's gonna like being Indiana Jones, right? You're a hero in your own story, and heroes, they're gonna have moments when they're down, they're all bloody, they're on the floor, and the villains be like, "Hi, you're pathetic." And there's gonna be days where you're gonna have great successes, and you're gonna be, I'm a legend, and you're gonna want to stay in each one of those. You want to either be sad and depressed and that I suck, or I'm a legend. I'm like, no, dude, you're gonna be bouncing between both, and that's life, and that's what life's about.
Yeah, there's no I don't want to say consistency, but there's no just, you're right here at all times. I wanted to throw it over to David to give him a chance to speak on should, because I realized he was the only one that didn't get to give his commentary on it yet.
No, yeah. I think that is like what Nuke was saying was a lot of reasons why guys have to gravitate to should, is because they have a high level of anxiety about life, and they need that, like, if I do X, then I'll get Y, because they're not really good at being assertive or actually asking for what they want, or they probably don't even ask themselves like what they really do want. But
I think the other thing is that also when you have shoulds and you eliminate all their options, then it confirms your already pre-held beliefs. And especially if somebody else does it, then okay, well, if I did this and other people should do this when they do it, hey, I feel good because this means that I did the right thing, so therefore other people should do this, and it's going to convince me more of the right thing. It's almost like the prodigal son narrative a little bit.
Yeah. If you have to live your life this specific way, then all right, I'm doing it right. So anything that good happened to me, because that's coming to me, is because I'm doing these things. But it's kind of funny. I dealt with, like, I first came across should, or like not using should, actually in one of Jack's favorite things, nonviolent communication. He loves it a lot. I've heard. But have you've seen nonviolent? You've heard of nonviolent communications before? I'm sure you've heard you talk about it before. Telling me it's super gay, but it was actually a book. I believe it was. I don't know if it's really all that important. It's Marshall Rosenberg, but he talked about it because as a way to sort of avoid conflict when people get, because should, as mentioned, comes with like a sort of moral authority. Like when I say like, hey, you should do this, I'm kind of implying that I have some sort of authority, as I know what needs to be done. And then his point was that it causes conflict, because if you're assuming the position of moral authority when you're talking to somebody, they're probably going to take offense to it, or they're more likely to take offense to it if you don't actually have that authority. Like some like lady comes to you in the shopping the parking lot and says, oh, you should put that cart back, or you should do this. Like, who the hell are you? What should be done? And unfortunately, in the sort of red pill space, well, guys are looking for shoulds. They are, like as Dante said, they're looking to kind of give away that moral authority to somebody else on what, how they should live their life, when ultimately the red pill is about kind of taking back the moral authority for your life and having it to yourself. Like, and where you decide, like, hey, should I cheat? Like, what's going to be the best thing for me? Like, what's going to be the most positive outcome for me? Because nobody's in your position. Nobody knows what you're going through. No one has to deal with the consequences of, the actions that you make. So why are you giving that up to somebody else, or, asking for somebody else? I think that really just comes down to, again, a lot of people have anxiety on how, on the outcomes, what other people will think. And that's, kind of stuff like No More Mr. Nice Guy, or When I Say No, I Feel Guilty, books like that, going through that and kind of getting back really the authority that you were born with to live your own life.
Yeah, I really like.
It's funny, just to add to David's point. So it's funny because in the red, paradoxically enough, there are shoulds in the red pill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're just not. Yeah, they're just not shoulds that you want, that you like, right? And I think what David was saying was, like, for example, dread. What's dread? Dread is the process by which you leave a sexless relationship. It may be that you leave your wife. But that's not the should you want. The should is you will leave a sexless relationship. And that's, that's so wide.
Or not. Like, if you make the decision, like, hey, I want to do this for the kids, I don't want, that's a man's choice. That's his life. It's not a choice I would make, not a choice anybody in the panel would make. But fuck, if that's what he decides, given what he's working with, and that's what his values, point to, then yeah, that's absolutely what he thinks he should do, and that's what he'll do.
That's the thing with dread. It works. You just not might like the outcome. And
Yeah.
I do want to address one thing, though, about dread, because a lot of people think it's a very active and assertive process. It isn't. Dread is actually very passive. It's in the background. Dread, if you like the whole I am the game thing, that is dread just by default. Kind of thing. If you are of high value enough, your wife, girlfriend, whatever, will experience dread, kind of thing. Though it is more presented as a strategy for guys who don't have it at all. Where it's like, yeah, you're fat, you're unattractive, you keep arguing with your wife, you keep wanting to change her mind, you let her take the lead, you are indecisive, whatever. Yes, for you, it is a more active strategy, but not to get her attracted to you. It is to make you attractive. If she gets attracted to you, nice bonus. But at the end of the day, the stay plan is the same as the go plan. You get attractive nonetheless.
Yeah, I like your perspective on that. And obviously it is the TRP's perspective, so to speak.
It is the right perspective.
You're right. You should have that perspective. But it's kind of like the way that I've always looked at it is that, like, regardless if my wife chooses to leave me tomorrow or not, I'm still going to play in the band. I'm still going to do the podcast. I'm still going to go to the gym as much as I do. There's no depending on what my wife wants to do. It's like you said, the stay plan is the same as the go plan. Whatever I'm doing right now, I'm going to continue doing regardless if my wife's here or not. I mean, yeah, obviously I wouldn't have a wife and we wouldn't spend time together on weekends or something like that. But, like, I'll fill that time in with something else that I want to do.
You can hang out with us.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But yeah, I'll come independence, and then I really like this comment that Stripper put up there earlier. If I do X, you'll do Y, thus playing your part to fulfill the fantasy in my head. I couldn't get that out for some reason.
English native language, everybody.
Yeah, Yinzer is my native language. English is my second. So
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Yeah, you just gotta control the controllables. That's all you got. Because, like, for example, if I bench every day, I will increase my strength. That is a scientific fact. Unless you have some kind of genetic disease or something, or you eat
right,
or you eat like potato chips only. Right? If you eat some level of protein above like 50 grams, you will build muscle. Your body is aching to build muscle, and that's a fact. So that's a controllable. That that's not even a should. That's like a fact. That's science. You will gain weight. There's people that'll fight. The people that go for should and be like, if I'm a good man, I'll get a good woman, will fight against the unassailable fact that if you lift weights, you'll get strong. Instead, they'll be like, no, that'll hurt my bones. I'm like, wait, so you believe this hypothetical, but you don't believe this scientific fact? So that means you're just choosing based on emotion and convenience what works for you.
Squatting is bad for my knees. It's like, no, please, no, don't.
Well, so here the thing is, like, there are a lot of shoulds in the red pill, and they're equally as unhelpful as the shoulds outside of it. Because, like, look, there's a strategy that goes. So there's a lot of dating coaches that will actually, tell you what to do word for word, how to do things. When the reality is that dating approaches are tailored to each person. Like, they're really specific. Like, the way I date and the way Jack dates, totally completely different. Jack might be a little bit because he's sick. Yeah, like
He
dating.
dates dudes. Yeah, he dates dudes.
well, dates like Jack's 6 foot plus, and he's in a different part of the world, and
and
he has
uses
different
Grindr.
hobbies.
And go on. I'm listening.
And he's gay.
All right.
We've been over this.
No,
my point being, it's like, look, Jack has a different dating set of problems than I do.
Yeah,
like, for some reason,
it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit. But the thing is, at that point, that means dating strategies between me and him should change, or they could be different, right? Like, for me, being a little softer and being a little more emotional actually works for me, because the way I talk is very rigid. It sounds very academic. It's like I'm giving a TED talk. I actually have a broadcast English-ish type of voice, but when I go emotional with chicks, it works for them because, oh my God, it's a human being talking to me instead of this, person on the radio or some reporter on the web on a news show, So being emotional works a little bit more for me. Whereas for Jack, maybe that might not be the case. Maybe Jack needs to be, a little bit more reserved, a little bit more, to use the word stoic, for him to get a good outcome from a date. Right?
Yeah,
but every time you're on Twitter, you're like, oh, be stoic, be fucking, and it's not calibrated is the other thing, right? If you follow everybody's shoulds on Twitter, even if they're red pill, quote unquote, you're not going to get a good outcome, because what might work for other people might not work for you. And that's why should is not helpful to most guys. It's because they don't always work.
Right. Well, like I was kind of saying earlier.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, you bake in a lot of assumptions with any should. So I think Nuke brought up the story of how I met my wife on Rule Zero a couple weeks ago. But it's so funny when you hear people talk about, oh, well, you should go to a library, you shouldn't date a girl that you met in a bar or something like that. I'm like, okay. So I mean, literally almost 6 years of the date I've been with I've known my wife now, but
we have to
been
start
with her for 5.
We have to start asking guys to like make up their own mind, right? Because I'll say, okay, Kyle, you met your girl. You said, all right, I don't want to get too in detail. I don't know what I'm allowed to share here.
No, you're good. Basically, my band was playing a show. It was a cover band at the time. It was a benefit. I was hammered off my ass. I met her. I slept in my car. I stepped over my own puke out of the passenger side of my car to get into the car and drive. And then we went on our first date the following weekend. And it's been kind of history ever since.
So what I'm saying is, like, in terms of calibration, and like, you have to ask guys to kind of come up with their own plan, their own action plan in terms of whether it's marriage or dating or whatever, because like I can only do so much, right? Like, yes, I've dated, like, for example, I've dated lots of Asian women, right? And I had a relationship with Asian women. So here are my notes about Asian women. Like, first off, make sure that she doesn't get the feeling that you fetishize Asian women, because women hate to be fetishized, especially here in the United States. They don't like it. They think you're creepy and weird, right? And then, like, I know that if you're a white guy, Asian women tend to prefer you. I know that it's a meme, but I actually see it when I walk down the street.
I see it when I walk down the
street. Yeah, you do too. Like these schlubby white dudes that are like 20% body fat with these model-looking young Asian girls. I'm just like, God damn it, But this point still stands that if you're going to make content and all that stuff, you have to understand too that you don't live in every country in the world. You don't live in every part of the country, right? The best you can do is talk to other guys that have experienced dating other countries, and then interpolate your own experiences. Like, for example, I can talk about Passport Bros because I grew up in Latin America and I know Latino women and I speak Spanish and I speak with women straight off the boat here, and I interact with them almost on a weekly basis, you know, at my dance nights and stuff. And I can tell you right now, like, I have a lot of notes to trade. Oh, sorry, but a
No,
guy,
You're
but a
good.
guy that you know, that's in Colombia that has lived there for 6 to 8 months to a year and is successful and has a good network and is meeting beautiful women, and then eventually has a girlfriend. That guy's gonna know more than me simply because he's in that arena. I'm just a spectator of that arena. But when it comes to dating, like here in Dallas or Texas or the Southern United States or United States in general, like very few guys are gonna have the perspective I do, and you just got to look at it and just like, okay, I know that here in the United States, if you speak Spanish and you dance Latin music, you're going to have a higher chance of dancing with Latinas. But if you go overseas, I don't think women really care that you know much about their dancing or their language at first, right? Because they're just so amazed by the fact that you're not from there. You're this tall white guy that, you know, you like, it's overkill. You don't have to do that. But here in the United States, if you want Latinas, you're going to have to like play the game a little bit, right? And that's all you got. That's the best you can do. However, the good thing about Twitter is that people can show in good faith can be like, no, I disagree, or this is what I and then that's the red pill, trading notes. And yeah.
Pretty much. It all comes down to could. You could choose this, you could do that. Should I get married? You could. Should I bang whores and snort cocaine in Mexico? You could. Like,
Or the red
what
pill
do you
guys say,
want?
"Don't get married," and you're like, "Fuck
No,
you,
but
Dad."
it's not even. We don't say don't get married. We said marriage is a
exactly.
bad deal.
Yeah, exactly. That's the official thing. But there are guys on, you know, red pill, quote unquote red pill Twitter. We said, "Don't get married. Marriage is whatever." It's like, you don't know that. You don't know if it'll work out for you or not, right?
Get a
So,
vasectomy.
yeah, there we go. Get a vasectomy.
How to be a rich, high value man? Rob a bank.
That's right.
Yeah, I had someone come
Banks
at
hate
me.
him. You know?
Yeah, I had somebody come at me once over that tweet because I reshared it again, and he said the quickest way to get laid is to force somebody else into it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, actually, that's true. Now, is anybody going to tell you to do that? No, you could, but you'd probably go to jail. Then you probably won't ever get laid again, but you could.
Oh, you will, just not in the way you like.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Not willingly, for sure.
Yeah, I just say, hey, like for everything in life, go with the should and then have the could contingency plan. I know my car. If I go start my truck, it's gonna turn on, but if it doesn't, here's what you do. Hey, I know that if a girl asks me on a date, she might show up. She should show up, but if she doesn't, here's what I do. And that's all you got. You got to start taking your emotions out of it, and like and your victim mindset. Like, a girl didn't show up, dating is fucked, you know, it's the end of the country. I'm like, hey dude, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the West is fallen.
Yeah,
she left me on red.
Right. And also get ahead of the game, and how, you know, for example, the old order thinking, you got to stop that. Like right now, from what I've seen, men and women, we don't have much to offer each other outside. Like, only the most disciplined people are going to be able to stay in relationships, right? But the average person is not going to do well in relationships now, because we have nothing to offer except fun and genetic material. And you can get both of those outside of a relationship. So it's like, if you want this relationship stuff, you're going to have a lot of contingency plans and coulds, right? And that's, you know, where the married red pill comes in. That's where guys go online and ask for help and read books and all that stuff. But once you understand the game you're in, have a contingency, right? And that's how our minds as men are literally built, is to have the A plan and the B plan, you know. And you have, the more of those B plans you have, the more less anxiety you have, and then you're going to be happier and your game's going to get better, you know.
Well, pretty much.
Okay, I was waiting for somebody else to go. Yeah, I do like the idea of, I always tell people that, like, no matter what, I'm going to be fine. My wife will occasionally get worked up about something. I'm like, it's going to be fine. I promise. Like everything's going to work out no matter what. And there are two sayings that kind of came to mind earlier when I think it was Nuke was talking that I remember hearing this girl, or no, I think it was on her MySpace or something like that. So that tells you how long ago this was. But she said, nobody cares if you're sad, so you might as well be happy, which I mean, it was probably like a small throwaway quote, but I always remember that. And to me, there was always something empowering about that. Cause it's like, yeah, you know what? You could sit here and, pout and be miserable about it. But like eventually happiness is a choice. And for me, 10 times out of 10, I'm choosing that. And you guys were talking earlier about people that will just go on the internet and post videos of themselves crying. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, I get it. You probably get some attention, but like, that is not the attention I want. So, there may be a day or something like that where I'm like, oh, shit just kind of went south and I'm having a laugh about it, but you're not going to catch me going on the fucking internet and saying, oh my God, my life is so terrible. Like
and subscribe, guys.
yeah, my life is so bad. Like and subscribe. My, because nobody cares. Nobody really cares. They want to see a train wreck, but I don't want to be the fucking train wreck,
And what was that Green Goblin quote from Spider-Man? The one thing that people want to see more than a hero succeed is to watch him fail.
Mm-hmm.
And you're giving the people what they want, dude. I'm too stubborn. I'm like, I talked to Terrence Pop, and his mantra is like, fuck up. You have to keep fighting till the end because you don't want to you don't want to prove the haters right. You gotta be stubborn as fuck.
I mean, that was Cappy's take as well. He's like, I refuse because of all my teachers in high school and my banker bosses to commit like self-offing myself. Like I refuse.
Look at all these bitches I fight with. Imagine if I gave up, they'd all be right. Can't have that.
No. Now I understand why you do it. You need motivation to live.
Yeah, exactly.
My life will have meaning, even if it is pissing off these ratchet hoes.
Yeah, I remember one of the driving forces for me was I remember my 7th grade teacher telling me, and it was, of course, the 7th grade year that I failed middle school. He said, you're going to end up flipping burgers in Burger King for the rest of your life. I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to go fucking turn wrenches and make more money than you, asshole, all right?
I had guys in high school call me a fucking retard for writing in English because the spelling was wrong and the grammar was horrible.
Oh, I do that all the time, Jack. I tell you.
Look at my Substack now. Okay, it's not the greatest, but people are willing to pay me for my Substack.
I can't tell a difference. I can't tell that English is your second language as when I read your Substack.
I do appreciate that.
I still unsubscribe.
I know. I knew that was coming. He's not going to give me a compliment without bashing me. Like, every time, it's like, keep going. What? Okay, this is going to be cringe, but I have to say it. You know what's the difference between a winner and a loser? The winner never gave up. That's it. Keep going. Right. It's going to be rough. It's going to be believe me. I wanted to give up.
11 years on Twitter, and I get paid to cause arguments.
Yep.
Hey, guys, check out this point. It's fucked up, right? And then 20 comments, arguments, and then I go.
Yeah, just fucking let them go.
Yeah, like, oh, guys, wow, these are good points that you guys are making. You guys should keep arguing more.
Do you mute your tweets these days?
No, I don't even know how to mute. I don't know how to use Twitter, guys. I just
so you know what's funny? There's a certain point. Yeah, if one of your tweets gets enough traction, I've seen this happen a few times. I think it was my prefrontal cortex one. I just stopped getting notifications for it. Like there are people having like full blown arguments, like yelling at me, and I just wasn't getting notifications for it. Like I'm good with that.
Validating the notifications because it can't it doesn't want to give you like 200 notifications, so it tries to always squeeze them into 20. Like, hey, people are commenting on your shit, just letting you know. And you're just like, I don't want to engage with Spurs, but I'm gonna throw a little bit of a little. Yeah. Have you guys remember the Dark Knight when the Joker like throws the broken pool stick and it gives people weapons to fight each other?
We're gonna have tryouts.
What do you mean this and what do you mean that? And then whenever an e-girl comes into the fray, I'm just like, perfect. $5 more. Perfect.
Hey, this is buy me another beer at the Legion.
Hell yeah. I got salsa and they got and that's the great thing about America is that like you can make money doing that's insane. Like, isn't it insane you can make money by making people mad?
I know.
No wonder these fucking Red Meat podcasts do it. They don't care about the red pill. They want to make this has got to be entertaining. Right?
Motherfucking money, am I right? Yeah.
Dante, do you want
Sex and money.
Abs, bitches, and cash.
Yeah. And then you get like maybe 5 or 6 guys that follow your stuff and your YouTube and your Patreon, and then look at that, you got money and people that really that give a shit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We talk about the funnel quite a bit, and I'm like, man, I've made most of like my Twitter following and viral tweets off making fun of Tim Pool and Laura Loomer, and I still do it, and I still get a shitload of likes for it.
I still do it.
Yeah, people are like, oh, you should quit knocking. Yeah, they're like, you should quit knocking Tim Pool so much. He lets our guys on. I'm like, every time I post a fucking tweet, you guys blow that shit up. So when you guys stop liking it, I'll stop doing it.
Two very, very easy people to dunk
I
on.
was so happy
yeah.
I could like quote your tweet verbatim.
The Tim Pool tweet where it's just like he had an erection and he passed out or something.
And he was brought to the hospital while whispering "Civil War."
Yeah.
It's just perfect. It's just perfect.
Civil War on what, dude? Like I get my Amazon packages in 24 hours, and you can match big titty Asians on Hinge. Like what am I gonna fight?
Well,
Like,
and on top of that, yeah, I've said this a million times, but
I'll start a civil war just to send Tim Pool back.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I think we need mass deportations, and we're starting with fucking Tim Pool. Hey, we could send him back to Vietnam.
But deport me to Medellin. That's all I ask. Like, I will give up my passport, but you guys got to deport me to a nice city where there's big booty Latinas. And I'll be like, okay, I will. I get it, but I'm glad where I'm at, and I'll figure it out from here.
I have served this country for years in the Navy, but I'll accept.
I mean, I did it for myself, but when you put on the uniform, it's like, you know what? It feels kind of good to do this for something bigger than myself. But
it is humbling.
Hey, if big booty Latinas are the price, then I'm for sale. So
no, Hawk, we need to chime in. Unmute. Hawk, unmute very quickly. Big-breasted blondes. Big-breasted blondes. Represent.
Oh yes, big, tall, big booty blondes, tits bigger than your head.
I will take gingers every now and then. I will make an exception, but the norm will be long.
Oh, sorry, Kyle. The way you said it with the straight face, it was so serious.
2 weeks in a row, we broke Nuke.
Ah, shit.
I like it. Yeah, you could deport me back to
sale.
Every time you guys laughing, it's a successful podcast.
If we can get Nuke off his serious face,
you need to have like that sign like days without an accident. It needs to be like days without
days without nonsense, like a counter, days without nonsense.
Nuke can do his serious podcast and his serious tweeting and his serious yelling at bitches, but he's over here. He's here having a beer. He's here having a whatever you're having right now, Nuke. I don't know.
Dude, I like hanging out with my e-girls, bro. Like, it's awesome. The only thing is they kind of start liking you after you disrespect them so much, and I'm just like, you guys need to go to therapy.
Oh yeah, I know how that
is. Okay, so are we establishing that the price for Nuke's warrant is Big Booty Latinas?
Yes,
dude.
Yes.
I think that's what we covered here. Yeah, I mean, you could send me back.
I'm starting to let go of the Latinas in my life. Like, I don't,
What do you want, like Hong Kong or something like that?
I want to play Helldivers with the boys. That's what I want.
Okay, so you know what? I sent it over in our little chat, but there's a game called Second Extinction, and they stopped production on it. It never fully got released, but it was literally like Left 4 Dead.
About white people?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, it was like Left 4 Dead. Yeah, it was like Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs, and it was so good. But
wait, hold on. Tell me more.
Yeah, but
I'm looking at it now.
you can't get it now. At least I don't think you can anymore.
Not with that attitude.
If you figure out how to get it, dude, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm still playing it to this day. But they're going to shut down the servers and everything, which I was pretty bummed about, because all I wanted was like a good dinosaur game that you could just like kill dinosaurs with guns, and that was it. And they're like, oh yeah, well, there just like wasn't enough interest. I'm like, how? Who doesn't want to kill like T-Rexes?
Dave, isn't there Ark is still a thing? Ask David about it.
Yeah, but that's like sandbox. Yeah, I'm not like a big sandbox guy. For me,
it's hard too. It's a very hard game.
It's too grindy. Like I need some kind of sense of progression, or like some sort of like linear path.
So like Dino Crisis 2 for the PlayStation.
Yeah,
you remember that game? I know Dave played it. I definitely know you played it, Dave.
Dino Crisis? Actually, no, I didn't.
What?
Play it. What? No.
I thought this was the Roar Squad.
Every video game everywhere.
Every dinosaur game I've played, except for like that one builder, the Jurassic Park builder. I
didn't play Turok, to be honest.
I played Turok. I didn't like it. I didn't ever
Turok for the GameCube was probably like the peak for them. And then I know they put out one for Xbox, and supposedly that one really sucked.
Dino Crisis 3 flopped. I think it was
the Jurassic World Evolution, the park builders. Both of those have been good.
They're good. All right.
As a kid, I had almost every dinosaur from Jurassic Park: The Lost World, like the massive Kenner toys. I had those. Those were absolutely amazing.
Do you remember the one for Sega, the Jurassic Park game for Sega Genesis?
It was really hard.
I never had a Sega.
Yeah, it's really hard. It was a platformer. Damn, I'm really showing my age and my autism here.
I never
I was
very difficult
play this game.
Well, like all those Sega games, those platformer games were hard as fuck.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up right now. Sega Genesis, Jurassic Park.
I love how we start talking about dinosaurs and Dante gets eaten by one.
Yeah, where is Dante?
He just kind of dipped out. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he had something going on, or maybe his internet broke. I don't know.
Yeah, Irish goodbye.
No. Look, guys, the rules of Post Zero are simple. It's Nuke who breaks down in tears because of laughing and his internet shit. It's Hawk with racism. Dante
and sexism. Don't forget sexism.
And sexism.
Yeah. Yo, check out this game. Sorry.
Well, what happened? What happened? What did you find? Share.
I'm sharing it now.
His face.
Yeah. All right, I'm sharing it in the private chat. Tell me that isn't the coolest retro game cover you've seen.
Oh god,
it has a dinosaur with a machine gun, a Gatling gun on it.
Whoa, dinosaurs for hire.
Whoa, dinosaur. That sounds awesome. Dinosaurs for hire. Shit. Red Hawk, you give us the sound drop. Shit. You give us the gun loading.
Hold on.
Jesus Christ!
Do you guys remember
for every Sega Genesis shooter, like you'd hear a and then the game would start. I'm like, man, games used to be so masculine. Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
Do you guys remember when Battletoads was a big meme?
Yep.
Oh, it was great. I remember everyone used to call GameStop and be like, "Hey, can I pre-order Battletoads?"
It's like supposed to be the hardest game of all time, right?
Oh, is it really?
No,
I thought that was supposed to be like
what
was it? A Shadow, the one Ninja Gaiden, and
it's Dark Souls 2. I thought Dark Souls 2.
No, was it? Well, yeah, Dark Souls was supposed to be hard, but what was the Shadow of I can't remember what it was
Shadow
called.
Colossus, Shinobi, the Ninja game.
Yeah, I might be thinking about Ninja Gaiden, and I swear there's one called like Shadow of something that was supposed to be really hard. I can't remember that.
Is Dante back in the thing?
Oh yeah, he is. My bad.
The Revenge of Shinobi, I think, is one of the hardest games too.
Okay. My system unit shut down. So there we go.
No, the hardest game on
they're sabotaging you. They're afraid of your power.
Yeah.
Giving too much wisdom on
the hardest game on NES is either Battletoads, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ninja Gaiden, or no, it's not Castlevania 1. Castlevania 1 is hard, but it's not near as hard as Battletoads.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is up there. Yeah, it's Ninja Gaiden, Kyle. Ninja Gaiden.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing that game for
NES?
Xbox.
Yeah.
All right, that was hard for a lot of bad reasons, though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, is the game hard?
Oh, I remember. Oh, sorry, Jack. I know. I remember. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. That shit was hard as fuck. I could never beat it as a kid. I had it.
Yeah, no, that one's
was
hard.
The hardest game.
But is it hard because like of difficulty or bad design?
Well, there's technical limitations for like Ninja Gaiden. Like they couldn't, remember. They just had to have it spawn in at certain places because that's all that the game could handle. So you like jumping and then the thing respawning and killing you is, just something that had to happen because they couldn't have enough RAM.
I remember seeing the GIF of a skeleton. It was somebody walking across a bridge on Dark Souls, and then a skeleton literally like drops down out of the top left corner on this GIF and hits this dude, and he falls off a bridge and dies. I was like, man, I would like throw my controller through the fucking screen if that happened to me. I would be so mad.
Oh yeah, Ghost and Goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was intentionally hard. Yeah.
Yeah, Mega Man isn't that hard.
Nah.
Hard. Nah.
I mean, some of the Wily stages are pretty rough.
Mega Man 7, I still haven't beat Wily. It's just that is. Oh god, I am too old for that shit.
Jack, did you ever play the game Mind Goblins?
No, I did not.
Mind Goblin these nuts.
Got him.
All right.
Oh
Mars.
god! Oh god! Oh god!
We need a
Oh
sound
god!
drop. You should. We need
There we
another
go,
sound
yeah.
drop, Red Hawk.
All right, hold on. I can take it out of its holster each time. So
It does get me a little bit moist every time he does it. It's like, ooh.
The European
Ah,
mind
why'd you
cannot
make it gay?
comprehend. The European mind cannot comprehend.
Yeah, the European mind cannot comprehend.
I would
So-
say these games are also getting really easy too. Like I'm playing Final Fantasy 16, and I'm doing some good combos, but I'm just like, this is like a story game. Like I'm not struggling at all.
Oh yeah, it's all about accessibility. Get the widest audience possible.
Yeah,
They're all piss easy. Tutorial levels, like a 1 hour tutorial. That's super boring. I could go on and on about that.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff.
I'm a big fan of story games,
games
but
journalism difficulty.
God damn it. Journalism difficulty. Just the guy eating the apple at the farm. Just that's me. Whenever I'm playing a game, I'm just the guy eating the apple at the farm, talking to the journalist.
8 out of 10 on IGN.
Yeah, it used to be like.
Which means
as
like a
a kid-
0 anywhere else.
Yeah, pretty much.
and it makes you soft because the other day I played Sonic 2 or Sonic 3, and I had so much trouble playing it. But as a kid, I blazed through these levels like it was nothing, and I was like, "What the fuck happened?"
You know,
Like,
if we could go back, could we kick our 8-year-old selves
Probably
ass in
not.
Super Smash? I don't think so.
No.
We'd be
I
good.
can.
No, I could beat my 8-year-old self at Smash. Like I could. That sounded weird. I could beat my 8-year-old self at Super Smash Brothers, right? But what I couldn't beat is like platformers, like Sonic, Super Mario World. Like I replayed Super Mario World, and you know the level where it's hard to describe. I think it's the third castle where you have that the little magician guy,
Yeah.
the wizard throwing out a spell, and it turns the blocks into like something. I can't get past
Koopas?
that. Yeah, I can't get past. As a kid, I was like, "What?" It took me 3 tries. As an adult, I'm just like, I quit. I can't do this. You know. But I
Wow.
will say, as an adult, you are better at Mario Party than kids. I've
Yeah.
demolished every kid I've played Mario Party with.
Jesus Christ!
Great
So that's
game.
what makes you happy.
It's a good game you could play with girls too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me think of the picture of Kanye West playing with all the fucking paralyzed kids, and it says that he was like dunking on them.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
you see fucking Nuke sitting there taking it all seriously. Yeah, fuck your mom.
Yeah. Well, I was playing with my cousin once, and
I bet you were.
well, I'm not from Alabama. That's
Damn.
why.
Is Marty still in the chat?
Yeah. And I was playing against, and I was worried because he owned the game, and I'm like, "Fuck, man!" Like he's gonna, and he's one of those kids that like if they beat you, they won't stop talking about it. So I'm like, "Fuck." So I was playing with him, but I'm just like getting all this, like I'm demolishing him at every mini game, and I'm just like, I think it's just as you get older, your reflexes improve, but also I think kids just care more. Like they give it more thought. Like when I was playing Super Mario World as a kid, it was like my whole day. Like I'd be at school thinking about it. I'd go home thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. But like as an adult, I'm just like, I don't think about video games when I'm not playing them. You know, I'm just whenever I turn it on, that's when I'm, you know, sometimes I look up a guide like combat tips and best loadout, best guns, just because I'm curious. But when you're a kid, like you read the IGN or the Nintendo Power, all that stuff. You read it every day, even when you're on the toilet, you're reading it. That's like your Bible. So maybe it's that. Maybe you just give a shit more as a kid.
Yeah, I remember we used to do the Halo Legendary runs, and it was always funny just watching Master Chief constantly die. You'd like spawn, take 2 steps forward, and just get fucking annihilated.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
The Ninja Turtles, man. I'm still scarred from that fucking game. God damn it.
I can imagine. I had that with the first Mario. No, with the first Castlevania, but I played that when I was like in my teens, and I remember throwing a controller at the TV. I'm like,
Nice.
one of the few times I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. I am a teen. I am like above 15 years old, and this game angers me. This is not healthy anymore. I did beat it at the end. I do remember Paper Mario: A Thousand Year Door, that like the final boss that I had so much trouble with it, and now as an adult, 2 tries. It's like, oh,
I think RPGs you get much better, I guess, because you're
yeah,
more.
you get way better.
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah,
Kefka-
you
Kefka-
understand like strategy way more and picking out members of your squad and a diversity of tactics and such. When you're a kid, it's like when you play Pokemon and your starter is like level 70, and that's like the only thing you use. And now you're like, I kind of want more of a diverse team.
That was my favorite moment on the VO podcast when he asked me about my Pokemon team. I'm like, yeah, that's
that was like 15, like 15, 30 minutes.
Houndoom was my guy. I taught my Houndoom Solar Beam. I taught my Houndoom Solar Beam.
You taught Houndoom Solar Beam?
Yeah, he knows. He can.
Damn.
Yep.
Oh, damn.
Screw up those water Pokemon.
Yeah, because that's how you would bait people. Like I'd like because I had the link. And I would battle people at school, but then like the way to bait people, right, is to like make them think, oh, he has a fire type Pokemon. I'm gonna get him with a water type, and then you solar beam them. you have someone else cast Sunny Day, so your solar beam is only one turn, and then you solar beam them. You're just like, what the fuck? And then like, okay, your only defense against fire Pokemon's gone. What's next? It was a great strategy.
Yeah.
Nice.
I gotta say, Houndoom is probably part of the reason why I have my dog right there. My Doberman.
Hey, it's a little hard how dour. Yeah.
My brother pointed it out to me, and then like ever since he said it, I'm like, oh my god, you're right. He was like, you can't get a Doberman just because you love Houndoom, and I was like,
fuck you, brother.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, you're right.
You can't tell me
Gengar.
Don't give me your shoulds.
Yeah, fuck your shoulds. Oh yeah, there you go.
I had Gengar too. Gengar still, I had Gengar, and then I got the Arceus Legends game, and I got Gengar again because I just like Gengar. I thought
Gengar was one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a crowd favorite now out of nowhere. Everyone likes Gengar.
I don't know why.
That tongue, they love it.
What was my moveset for? I had him in second gen. I started using him.
Hypnosis, 3 meter, Shadow Ball, and Lick, maybe. Hypnosis and 3 meter, 100%.
He had a move that I was like, I fucked people up with it. What was it?
The combo of Hypnosis and 3 meter.
Let me look
up. Nightshade?
Let me look it up. Hold on. Second gen Gengar moveset. Gengar moves. All right.
Man, I gotta fucking play Pokemon again. I should play Pokemon again. I'm gonna put that one there.
I just wish they'd come out with good games.
Was it Spite? Wait, what did Spite do? Let me check.
Destiny Bomb?
I need to get one of those emulators for my phone. Man, I haven't played Pokemon.
No, it wasn't Spite. Mean Look. I think Mean Look.
Oh, that would prevent Pokemon from fleeing.
Right. So you put them. They can't sub it out, right? So you use Mean Look, and then you put them to sleep, and then you dream eat them until they can't, and it's just like free HP and all that stuff. I think something I did like that, and the game became really easy after that because of
Mean Look was great for the 3 dogs like Entei, Suicune, and Raikou because they always fled. So
can't they break it? Can't they break it?
I don't think they can break Mean Look. I'm not sure. I don't think they can.
And I had Ampharos too, but everyone had Ampharos.
Dude, Ampharos was awesome. Mareep was one of my favorites. I want a Mareep. I want it so bad.
And then the ninja Pokemon, what do you call it?
The Gray Ninja? The bug? Heracross?
No, the one that like the fastest Pokemon that exists right now.
Scyther.
No. It's the one that had that when it evolves, it has like the ghost version of itself. That's like it's second gen or third gen
or something.
Yeah. Fuck, what was his name? I love that using that. It's literally the fastest Pokemon right now. I think.
I'm trying to remember.
Sneasel.
Pokemon.
No, not Sneasel. It's a bug. It's Nincada. Ninjask.
Oh, Ninjask. Yeah. It has some speed boost as its ability. You can use Protect, and Sword Stance, and you can have a Focus Sash on it, so it can't get one shot, and then you baton pass to another Pokemon that has a shitload of speed and a shitload
What's
of
it called?
Ninjask.
Yeah, it starts out as Nincada and then Bug Ground, and then when it evolves into 2 different Pokemon. First, it's like Ninjask, and then Shedinja, which is like a ghost bug, which is like the shedding,
That thing's kind of interesting because it can only get hit by moves that are super effective against it, but it only
is it that 3rd generation or is that 4th generation?
3. It's Gen 3.
3.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
loved Omega Ruby. I love that game.
I'd never.
Oh yeah,
played
that
any
was
of
the
those.
last. That was the last like really good Pokemon game. in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I never played those. My big one was a Silver, and what was the one with Suicune on the back of it?
So Crystal.
Crystal. That
But
was it.
you couldn't catch a Mareep Crystal. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
What was the other Pokemon I used a lot? Fuck.
Gardevoir.
No, I'm not that. Perverted. I'm not a pervert.
Oh yeah, I remember you. I think I did.
Did you know Lucario is the most sexualized Pokemon out there?
No, I thought it was Gardevoir. And,
no, it's actually
Vaporeon. I thought it was Vaporeon.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Oh, my
actually
God.
Lucario. Weirdly enough,
in Omega Ruby, I had a team of all shiny Pokemon. I had a Milotic, a Haxorus, a Gallade, which was my Mega in that game. I had a Zoroark, a Crobat, and what was that? What was number 6? I gotta look it up. Hold on. It's a good team. Oh, Aggron.
I had a Slow King too. I think.
nice.
All right. So
And
since
Scizor. Yeah,
I think we came full circle back to Red Pill by talking about the most sexualized Pokemon. So I think we could probably wrap. Everybody,
We should
go ahead.
do more shows like this and less about yeah.
Listen, I told Jack that I wanted to do like a guys' night or something like that where we just fucking drink and talk shit. I'm all about it, man.
we need to do Age of Empires, man. We need to do.
Oh yeah, we got to get Gov for that because Gov is would totally be down for that.
Or at least Rise of Nations or Civ, and play 4 hours of just Civ and talking shit and stuff. And
oh my god, I would
So,
totally do an.
I've never played those.
After Kyle disconnects the live, I will tell you about the ultimate plan, and it's coming. It's coming.
That's what she
It's
said.
sure.
Oh dear.
Wait, is this what Jack's ultimate plan was, to get 5 dudes in a room with him?
On a black couch and a 100-inch TV.
Oh, I used Shift Tree too. I remember Shift Tree. That's
Shifter was pretty
That's
dope.
fun Pokemon. Has a weird move.
Yeah, let's go around and do plugs so we can do this. Jack, go ahead. Drop your links to the chat. Anywhere people could find you.
Okay. My Substack is in the chat. I would very much appreciate it if you go there. I am releasing a new article Monday morning for me, tonight for you guys. I would really appreciate it if you go to my Substack and go check it out. And please follow me on Twitter because I have to rebuild my account. And I unfollow Nuke and follow me, please. I would very much appreciate that.
Build an equilibrium.
Yes,
Nuke, go ahead.
Equality must be achieved.
Houndour can be fine towards the end of the game. So once you catch a Houndour, get it to like level 50, evolve it, and then have another Pokemon, preferably maybe what was the flower Pokemon? Cast Sunny Day. Sunflora. Cast Sunny Day, and then swap out when you have a chance to Houndoom, and then Solar Beam your opponent, and then there's nothing they can do now because everyone has like a Pokemon for the fire type. So once you Solar Beam people, you have Sunny Day, you could do it back to back and you'll be fine. So that's all I got. I'm sorry. Should I talk about Red Pill? Is that what I should do, guys? Or can I do whatever the fuck I want?
Hey, I talked about Pokemon for years, brother. They know what we're about. We started out as anime nerds.
Yeah,
it's the Hodge Twins thing.
Yeah, show tonight, guys, 9 p.m. See you there.
Cool. Red Hawk?
Follow me on Twitter and follow my company, the OGC, the Old Glory Club, if you want more political right-wing takes, which nobody really in this sphere should be paying attention to, but if it strikes your fancy, give it a look.
And or you could go listen to me and Red Hawk show last week.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Everyone should absolutely go and listen to that. Fuck the rules of should. Everyone, when you're done with this, go listen to the show that Kyle. And
right now, this is not a choice.
Yeah, we'll do this. It's a command.
David, go ahead, David.
There's a nice family over there. Yeah, that's right.
Scar Thumb Podcast every Sunday, and I post clips on the channel. I put the link to the channel, my channel, So go ahead and check it out if you're interested in video games, the latest news and whatnot happening there. And just sort of like in general, like kind of nerd stuff too. Sometimes I'll talk about anime or like Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of stuff. So
Right
it's
on.
a lot of fun. Come
Cool.
join me on Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Cool. Dante, good.
Yeah. Subscribe to Kyle's channel. Subscribe to Jack's channel. Subscribe to all these people's channels. But I will talk about the Substack because I feel like I have some stuff that's coming
You
in
do.
that people might be interested in. I don't know. I don't know if anybody will read it, but I realize that there are some ideas that I think need more emphasis again that isn't being emphasized, and I'd like to be like one more voice to bring that out. Um, I also realize that for a lot of there's a lot of material for married people and people in relationships, but there's not a lot of material for single guys with that have that are having a hard time building a long term view of things. So that's kind of where I'm at. Or you could just listen to this and don't mind. But if you want something a little more interesting and a little bit more in depth, a little more reflective, then that's what I want to try to achieve. So there's the link if you need it, and that's it for me.
Awesome. Well, hopefully this wasn't too much of a disaster. My first time hosting Post Zero.
No, man, you did great.
Nice. Well, yeah, we started with a little bit of banter and then ended pretty much on Pokemon, which I think is pretty damn based. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys back either on Jack or Nuke's channel or wherever next Sunday. And for me, this week I forget who I have on, the guy from Bitcoin and Beef, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you so much everybody for listening. And yeah, if you guys don't got anything else, we'll close her out there.